welcome to this episode of Martial Truth, something unexpected. So, as usual, please, if you like the videos, click that like button, share, think about subscribing. We just passed 14,300 subscribers, all right? And consider becoming a monthly member. There's a lot of videos there that are only available to the members. All those videos are commercial free, so you don't have to watch any commercial free. Many of them instructional in nature. All right, so those things in mind. Just returned from the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the Isshin-Ryu World Karate Association Championships, which hadn't been held since I hosted it along with my student in London, Ramathas Muthusamy. In 2019. Obviously, COVID affected that as far as it not being held for 5 years. Tournament was fine, typical tournament. I think they all have good points. They all have bad points. I think people do the best job they can with it. So as far as that goes, great. It was good for me. I got to see some of my students. I got to spend time with my students from London, which I haven't seen them since 2019. So that was great. And a couple of my other students also. And, enjoyed seeing friends that I haven't seen in a while, like Sensei John Devine and, a bunch of other people, Carl Martin, and, different people that I really usually enjoy talking to. And what was great was I didn't judge. They asked me if I wanted to. I said I'd rather not. I said if you really need me, I will. So I spent the tournament day walking around and talking to people, which was interesting. I spoke to parents. I spoke to Q students. I spoke to black belts. And it was great. I appreciate all the people that came up to me telling me how much they like the channel, how much they like the videos, how much they like the interviews. So I appreciate everybody that came up and said that. It really meant a lot. So now on to something unexpected. So I started karate back in 1979 at a little YMCA on Catalpa Avenue, right, in Ridgewood, Queens, okay? And I still remember my first night walking in. I'm 15 years old. I walk in, I learn a few basics, a few kicks. We do a little bit of Ippon Kumite, whatever else we do. And that was the start. Again, when you first start in karate, you're looking at your fellow students, right? And this guy's wearing a green belt, and that guy's got a brown belt, and there's a few guys wearing black belts, and you're like, boy, maybe one day, right? And I remember, boy, maybe I can make green belt one day. And then I make green belt, and wow, that's again, I'm probably like 16 years old now, and I'm all excited I make green belt, right? And then before you know it, a little while later, I make brown belt. It's like, oh boy, like look at this, right? And then eventually I made Shodan, and that was I wanted that, obviously. I mean, right off the bat, I just really loved martial arts. So, I was training like a maniac. I was young. I was a teenager. So I trained like literally my hair was on fire. Okay. And I made Shodan, and that was great. And then once I made Shodan, I kind of really didn't think about like Nidan, Sandan, Yondan. Because, even in the dojo, nobody wore stripes on their belt. So you didn't know what rank any of the black belts were. Now, if you trained there, you did, because obviously you saw the junior black belts going over to the senior black belts if they had a question. And it's the same thing in my New York school. There's no stripes on a belt, okay? That's an ego thing, all right, which we don't do. I've never seen it in Japan. The only stripes you'll see in Japan are gold stripes embroidered on the belt for Renshi, Kyoshi, and Hanshi, which I don't do either. None of my students do. All right. So anyway, I never really thought about that, and I eventually made Nidan under my first instructor, and then, as I said in the previous podcast, the one where I spoke about training with Master Shimabuku in Okinawa for the first time and visiting Okinawa for the first time, and I made Sandan in Okinawa. And then I've been promoted since then, and eventually, back in 2019 or 18, I don't remember which year, I was promoted to Kudan, Hanshi, all right, which, was something if you had told me when I walked into that dojo back in 1979 as a 15-year-old that someday I'd get promoted to Kudan by the headmaster of Isshin-Ryu Karate, Master Kichiro Shimabuku, I would have told you were nuts. Like I was like, that's not going to happen. It's just crazy to even think about it. So when it did happen, it was a surprise. Again, did it make me feel good? Of course. I mean, I have an ego too. It made me feel good. But again, what did it make me do? It just made me train more. All right, made me try to do more for Isshin-Ryu. I've tried to do a lot for Isshin-Ryu. I've tried to put Isshin-Ryu first over myself, meaning there's always things I've tried to do for Isshin-Ryu. I've been running the Master's webpage since 1994, which we're in the process of actually putting up a new one. So that'll be hopefully done over the next couple of weeks. Visited Okinawa 5 times to train there, led the demonstration for the grand opening of the Budokan. I represented Master Shimabuku's school in 1997. Did a 3-city tour in India where I was able to get Isshin-Ryu recognized as an official style by the president of the India Karate Federation, which is a government-appointed position. So that means that you can apply for money from the government, like if you're going to things like the IWK World Championships, where prior to getting Isshin-Ryu recognized, that wasn't the case. That wouldn't happen. All right. Master Shimabuku had asked me to produce a DVD series on Isshin-Ryu, which I've done. I think a lot of people have liked it. It's old now. Okay, there's certain things in it I don't like, but I still think it's valid. It helps people with their Isshin-Ryu karate. So. Yesterday, I spent the day mopping my dojo floor and cleaning the dojo, and of course, working out. My wife got home from work. She's a substitute teacher a couple days a week, and she walked in and she said, "You got something from Master Shimabuku." So, as was mentioned at the tournament, Master Shimabuku is having some health issues right now. He's having a leg problem. So obviously, was a little concerned about what I was getting from Master Shimabuku. So I opened the envelope, and there's a letter, and there was a certificate, and that certificate was for 10th Dan. And the letter was better than the certificate. The letter was extremely nice. I mean, it made me feel fantastic after reading it. And he was letting me know that he was promoting me to 10th Dan in Isshin-Ryu. So I kind of stood there for a second, and I literally said to my wife, was this a possibility? Well, I guess after 9th, I guess it was a possibility. Some of my students were like, "Oh yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen," but you don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, come on, 10th Dan. It's almost absurd when I think about it, right? Meaning that it was never something that was a goal. But none of the Dan ranks after Shodan were a goal. They just kind of happened, right? So I said to her, I don't even know what to think about this. And she looked at me and she said, well, you've worked really hard and you deserve it, right? And she said that, right? And I've spoken to a couple of other people that I'm close with, and they had the same reaction. Senior sensei in Isshin-Ryu. And that's great. I'm glad they feel that way. I'm sure there'll be people that when they hear about this will be like, "Oh, he's too young. He's too this. He doesn't deserve it. Why does he get it? I should get it. I'm doing Isshin-Ryu longer." Look, I can't. I'm not even going to waste my breath commenting on that. I just felt that yesterday was an indication of the way my martial arts has always gone. So I'm mopping the floor in the dojo yesterday, cleaning it. I put a video up, I did some training. My wife comes home. I get promoted to 10th Dan. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Now, I go out. Now I have classes to teach. And it's been quiet because it's the summer. People are away and stuff. So I only had one student last night. And that student was a young kid by the name of Tyler. He's only 12 years old. And he came down, and we bowed in and started training. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is really what it's all about. So I just got promoted to 10th Dan. Great. Okay, it's great. It's an accomplishment. Okay, wonderful. I'm glad Master Shimabuku thinks so highly of me that he'd bestow this on me. But okay, put it to the side, and now I'm going to train with my 12-year-old student. And, we did some katekitai, and we did some self-defense. Then I worked with him on his kata. I had him working on the heavy bag, a couple of different things to try to develop more power. And we trained for 2 hours. We did Isshin-Ryu, and then we did Matayoshi Kobudo. And, it just, again, made me realize what's important. 10th Dan is great. Does it change my life? I don't think so. I mean, it's just really Master Shimabuku saying, I appreciate everything you've done. It's a big deal. I know it's a big deal. I'm very young to have received this honor. I know there's talk on Okinawa now of not waiting till people are in their 70s and 80s to recognize them as 10th Dans, because they're old by that point and they can't do as much as they used to do. So there's talk about kind of lowering that to people that are a little bit younger, recognizing younger people. So they have 20 years, 30 years where they can actually go out and teach and help and bring the next generation up. All right. And, I'm not unopposed to that. I think that might not be a bad deal. Because, again, what does it mean? It's a piece of paper. Okay? It's a piece of paper. It's your teacher, your sensei, your master, in this case, the master of Isshin-Ryu Karate, all right, recognizing you, telling you, listen, I appreciate all the hard work you've put in, and as a token, I'm going to promote you to this grade, all right? So I was a little surprised, all right? Some of my students weren't surprised, and that's okay. What does it mean? I think it means I just got to keep going out and training and trying to do more for Isshin-Ryu, and try to help people in Isshin-Ryu, which there are a lot of people I've helped in Isshin-Ryu, people that wanted to come in the IWKA, wanted to get recognized by the IWK, become members and be in that association. We're closing in on 50,000 members. I know Master Shimabuku gets a lot of members from the website. He's told me he does, which makes me very happy. So it's interesting that, again, the promotion only makes me want to work harder and do more, okay, and try to help people in Isshin-Ryu. Whether it's helping by teaching them, okay, whether it's helping them by bringing them into the association, anybody that wants to come in. That's what I feel my function is as a senior Dan. I was very happy the weekend I just spent in Pittsburgh, that people felt they could come up to me and talk to me and ask me questions. When someone would come up and say, excuse me, are you Sensei Calandra? And my standard joke is, well, that depends. Is Sensei Calandra in trouble? And they usually laugh and they say no, right? And they'd ask me if they could take a picture. I take a picture with anybody that asks, okay? Why they want a picture with me, whatever, I don't know, but I'm happy to take a picture with everybody, okay? They want to talk for a little bit, whether it's about the channel. One young man came up to me and said, excuse me, again, are you Sensei Calandra? I said, yeah. He said, I just want to thank you. I use your kata videos to help prepare for the tournament. I said, oh, that's great. I really appreciate it. I said, how'd you do? He said, I won 2 medals. I said, great. I said, that's fantastic. I said, I'm glad my videos could help, But I told him, I'm sure it was your hard work, not just my videos. And he asked again to take a picture, and of course I took a picture with him. So it's little things like that that are more important to me than the rank, okay? And when I informed some of my most senior students that I'd been promoted to 10th Dan, some of their reactions was pretty funny. So my one student said, oh, I see 11th Dan in your future like Master Ken, which made me laugh, right? And then another one of my students said, does this mean your seminar rates are going up? So it's stuff like that coming from my students that shows I've trained them right. In other words, they all said congratulations, right? But then they're also joking about it, right? And then one of my most senior black belts in Isshin-Ryu responded, "Does this mean we have to call you Chief Grandmaster now?" So again, made me laugh, made me smile, made me appreciate my students more. I've tried never to take myself too serious. When I teach martial arts, I'm pretty serious, all right? I want people to get better. I want to impart information, all right? But I don't take myself too serious, okay? I just think it's ridiculous. I see many senior dons act in a way towards their juniors that I would literally like to punch some of them in the face. It really makes me shake my head and makes me think, why, right? I mean, if you're being bestowed this massive responsibility by the headmaster of Isshin-Ryu Karate, or by any headmaster that promotes anybody to a senior dan grade, I think it's incumbent upon you to be more humble. I think it's incumbent upon you to train harder. I think it's incumbent upon you that when you interact with other people within the martial arts, that you interact with them in a friendly, relaxed manner, and not one of where puffed up. I'm puffed up. Well, I'm a 10th dan now. No, you're only a shodan? No, you can't speak to me. All right. And, I've seen this throughout the years. And, again, I just don't think it's good for the martial arts. I've witnessed where someone comes up to a senior dan and the senior dan is very snippy with them or snaps at them, okay? And, I just don't like it. And what is that Q student or what is that junior black belt thinking, right? And then what happens is, what if that now becomes the norm? Meaning, like, they see how you act as a senior dan, and now as they go up in rank, they start acting like that. So I try to treat everybody the same, okay? And, I'm well aware that'll be a lot of people that are happy that I've received this rank, and there'll be a lot of people that aren't. And, it's great that some people will be happy for me and be appreciated, and people that aren't happy and will make negative comments, just to be clear, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what you think. That's just the way it is. The days when I start losing my mind about what other people think about me is the day I have to just close up shop. Okay? So I'm going to continue to train. I'm going to continue to train hard. I'm going to continue to work for Isshin-Ryu Karate and try to do as much as I can. My goal is to be the best Isshin-Ryu Karate practitioner ever. That's my goal. Don't think I can achieve it, but that's my goal. My goal is to get better in every facet of my Isshin-Ryu Karate. Like I tell my students, okay, I just got promoted to 10th dan. That's great. Okay, my goal is to be better today than I was yesterday and be better tomorrow than I am today. Okay? Every time I've gotten promoted, I go back and I start with the first basic. And I literally go through everything in the system again. I go through all my basics, my kata, hitting the makiwara. I literally go through everything and check myself and try to figure out, can I do this a little better? Can I do that a little better? And the same with teaching, okay? Again, the certificate doesn't mean you're a better teacher. The certificate is the big attaboy from your sensei. But I look at it and say, okay, well, now I have to try to become a better teacher. I have to work at my craft. If I'm not working at my craft, now I can't put myself on the pedestal and say, well, that's it. I'm at the top of the mountain. I mean, look, I'm never getting promoted again in karate, which on one hand is a big relief, right? It's a big relief. I don't even have to concern myself with that stuff anymore. All I have to concern myself now is with training, teaching, bringing the next generation forward in Isshin-Ryu, which is something I want to help people with. Okay, um, that's what the goal will be. It's not going to be, well, how can I get an 11th dan? There's no such thing as 11th dan, right? I don't even have to concern myself with it. I can just now again work on my craft, help people, all right? Teach better Isshin-Ryu karate, all right? Help Master Shimabuku any way I can, all right? And continue to hopefully move forward. Um, you know, I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments on this one. I know I've done two now kind of personal ones in a row. Sorry for that. Next week we get back to interviews. All right, so don't worry. There's an interview next week with Mr. Black, who just produced a documentary on older people in martial arts training. I'm actually doing that interview later on today with him. He's in Australia, so that'll be next week. And then there'll be some other interviews coming up in the near future too. Thomas Feldman, all right. But I had prepared, I had two other subjects I was thinking about talking about today. And then when this happened, it was, like I said, a little numbing. Like, I'm trying to still get my head wrapped around it, and it's still not wrapped around it. Okay, a journey that began all those years ago, and the journey is still not finished. I mean, I constantly joke. I plan on being here till 100. That's my goal. So the journey is, in Isshin-Ryu. It's be 46 years in April. So I still got a long way to go. I think I have a long way to improve. I think I have a lot more people to help. Okay. Again, it was something that came as a surprise, because how could it not come as a surprise? Even if other people say to you, oh, you'll be 10th on one day. Oh, you'll be, okay. It's such, and it's such a crazy idea that I could go from being that 15-year-old kid that walks into that dojo in 1979 to 46 years later receiving 10th dan from the headmaster of Isshin-Ryu. It's just, it's crazy. It's unbelievable. All right. I'm not the only one. Master Shimabuku was originally promoted Sensei Dissel to 10th dan. Dissel Sensei is very good karate, a long-time supporter of the IWKA, well-deserved. Promoted Sensei Cindy Jones to 10th dan in 2019 at the tournament I hosted. Again, been in Isshin-Ryu a very long time supporter of the IWKA and Master Shimabuku, well-deserved. And Sensei John Hughes. Again, another longtime supporter of Master Shimabuku, hosted the tournament 3 times. God bless him. I mean, he's passed on now. But anybody that hosts that tournament that many times, God bless you, okay? He was promoted in 2022, sadly passed away the following year. It says something, I think, also for Master Shimabuku, that he's willing to promote people to the same rank that he is. The first dojo I trained in, the head instructor was 7th dan or 8th dan. The next closest was 4th or 5th dan. And that next closest was training almost as long as him. Okay, so why is he 3 or 4 dan grades behind? Oh, because there's a lot of people that don't want anybody getting close to him. Okay? I have students in my dojo at 8th dan, 7th dan. So, it's, my belief has always been, as the sensei goes up, he should bring the whole dojo with him. All right? So, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Little strange for me, but I just wanted to share my feelings on it with all of you, and and onward and upward. Okay. Right now, after I finish this podcast, I'm gonna go do my knees over toes exercise and do my kettlebell workout and do some martial arts, and then I'm gonna go over and change a fan at my son's house. So getting promoted to 10th degree is great. Life goes on. I still have all the simple little mundane things I have to do every day. I'll be happy. I go see my grandkids again today, and Thanks for watching. Appreciate all of you. Please click that like button, share, subscribe to the channel, consider becoming a member. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Take care.